Hello, welcome everybody. I'm Suzanne Shirley, Senior Ruby Ambassador with Plexus, and I'm going to mute everybody. I haven't done that yet, so everyone should be muted except for me. We're going to talk about the what to say when you talk to yourself book tonight, and we are on chapters 9, 10, and 11 again. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstedder. This is the topic of reprogramming the brain. And we talked about the wall last time that we had a chat. We talked about the different 5 stages of programming, which creates beliefs, which create attitudes, which create feelings, which create actions, which eventually create the results. And that's the reason why we should realize that reprogramming the brain is the way to go. Okay, so I want to get into it. The 5 levels of self-talk. There are 5 levels of self-talk. And your old self has to become a better self. And by doing so, it's not governed by conditioned response, but rather governed by what? Personal choice. I'm going to say that again. It's very, very important. Your old self cannot become a better self simply governed by conditioned response. It has to be governed by personal choice. In other words, you have to make the decision to become that better self. Cannot be out of conditioned response. Okay? So self-talk is a way to override your past negative programming by erasing and replacing with conscious, positive, new directions. I'm going to say it again. Erase and replace. You got to erase, and when you erase, you have to replace it with the right thoughts and the right words that your brain needs to think. Okay? Self-talk is a practical way to live our lives by active intent rather than by passive acceptance. Active intent rather than by passive acceptance. That is key. It's a way to give new directions to our subconscious minds by talking to ourselves in a different way. Self-talk gives us, each of us, a way to change what we would like to change, even if we have not been able to do that in the past. There are several kinds. There's 5 levels. Each level is specific and distinct from the other. Some of the levels work for us and help us, and others do not. They work directly against us. So the first level of self-talk works definitely against us. It is the most harmful form of self-talk. It's called the level of negative acceptance. And it starts with things that you say when you say, I can't. I can't. When you say I can't, that's negative acceptance. Negative acceptance. I will tell you by personal reflection here, I do not allow those words out of my mouth. I've been doing that before Plexus. I knew that just from biblical standpoint. I'm not going to say the words I can't. Even if it's the truth and I feel like I can't or I believe that I can't, I won't voice it. I'm not going to say it. I might have thought it, but I'd never let it come out of my mouth because I knew that words have so much power to affect my mind in the way that I think. And so I wouldn't let that. And I knew that just from going to church. I knew that from reading the Bible. So that I already had down. But I don't have control of the thoughts yet. The thoughts were still ruling me, and the negative self-talk was going on and on and on, and there was no way to control that. But I had controlled the mouth part of it, okay? At the bottom of the list, this is the most harmful self-talk you can use. Level 1, negative acceptance. Okay, it's when you say something bad or negative about it, about yourself, and you just accept it. Okay, you're saying something bad or saying something negative about you, and you just accept it, okay? This level is easy to spot. It's so easy to identify. It definitely works against us, and it's most frequently used of all ways of self-talk. It's the most frequently used, okay? This is what level 1 self-talk does. What does level 1 self-talk do, okay? It wreaks havoc in your life. It clutters, it blocks, it confuses. It turns self-assurance into self-doubt and chaos. It cripples our best intentions and seduces us into becoming satisfied with mediocrity. Oh my word. It is the heart of the just get by attitude. Its subtle whispers tell us to passively accept a fate far less greater than we had once dreamed of attaining. It is the mythical siren which draws us to the shore, dashing our hopes on reefs of despair and complacency. I love how he words that, because that is very descriptive terminology used to describe what that type of self-talk does to us. I love that. I'm going to read that little part right there. It is the mythical siren, and that's with a capital S, okay? It's like it's a person. The mythical siren which draws us to the shore, dashing our hopes on reefs of despair and complacency. It's the worst kind of thing you can engage in. Rid yourself of the negative I can'ts of self-talk, and you will have rid yourself of your greatest foe. So get rid of the I can'ts immediately. Now, if you get rid of it, that's great, but you're going to have to replace it with something. We already know that. Erase and replace. So we're going to talk about that here in a minute. The second level of self-talk is the level of recognition and need to change. Oh my goodness. This is stuff that I verbalize still, I catch myself saying. And it's only because of the lovely Shad Helmstedder, thank you, Mr. Helmstedder, that I even know that that's negative, because it's so deceptive. It doesn't sound negative. It's the I need to, I should, I ought to this, that, or the other. I need to get this house cleaned up. I should get some work done today. I need to go to the gym at some point this week. Hello. I mean, I need to clean up this bathroom. It's been a whole week. Oh, I should start making the bed. I need to get on a better diet program. I mean, how many times have we said these things out loud? We don't realize that's negative because we think negative is I can't. Okay? But this is really bad. It works against us. So this is another level of self-talk that works directly against us. It's the I need tos and I shoulds. Okay? We're slating, take that back, we're stating to ourselves and to others our recognition of our need to change. That's all we're doing. Okay? Why does it work against us? Because it recognizes a problem, but does not create a solution. There's the problem. It recognizes that you have a problem with something, but it doesn't create a solution for it. There's no solution. So these all finish telling the subconscious mind, but I'm not, but I can't. Okay, so what does that mean? I really need to start a diet, but I'm not doing it. I really should clean up this house, but I'm not doing it. I really need to start making the bed. I need to get better organized, but I'm not doing it. But I can't. Okay? That's really the finisher of the thought. And when you don't even realize that that's really what the thought finishes up with, you might not be saying, but I can't, but I'm not. That's technically what your brain is thinking, because that's the negative programming that you're allowing yourself to think. So I really should try to get to work on time. I've just got to lose some weight. I really need to cut down on my smoking. I've got to do something about that. I really ought to take more time with my kids. I know I should study harder. Well, your self-talk then becomes, but I'm not. But I can't. But I'm not taking care of it. But I don't. But they won't. But they won't. Okay? It seems so innocent, but it's not innocent. It's destructive. Instead of giving birth to dreams and accomplishment, your level 2 self-talk creates guilt, disappointment, and acceptance of our own self-imagined inadequacies Oh my word, that's terrible. Guilt, disappointment, and acceptance of our own self-imagined inadequacies. What a terrible thing to have your mind focus on. Terrible. So let's look at 3 and 4, because levels 3 and 4, from what I remember that I read 3 weeks ago, like I told you, I haven't looked at this in 3 weeks. Okay, level 3 and 4 work for us. Level 5 is like this incredible higher level of self-discovery and creation. We're going to talk about that, and very few people can actually get to that level, but that's something you should attain to get to, okay? But let's talk about 3 and 4, because that's where we need to start focusing on making ourselves get in those levels, okay? So level 3, self-talk, works for you, and it's a level of decision to change. Decision to change. So you're going to say in this type of self-talk, I never XYZ. I no longer XYZ. So I never give up. I never stop reaching out to people and following up. I never become complacent. I no longer am a lazy person in the afternoons. I no longer think of reasons to take a nap. I no longer give myself excuses. I no longer, whatever the case may be, okay? So this is level of decision to change, okay? It's when you recognize the need to change, but you also make the decision to do something about it, and you state the decision in the present tense, as though the change has already taken place. I never smoke. I no longer have a problem dealing with the people at work. I never eat more than I should. I never get upset in traffic. I no longer put off doing anything I want to get done. Okay, those are all beginning to rephrase old negative cannots. You're beginning to rephrase the cannots, all right? So you're putting them behind you and you're stating them in a positive new way that tells your subconscious mind to wake up, to get moving, and to make a change. For example, when I realized I had not saved enough for my taxes this year, and I felt, yes, I'm getting real with you here, okay? And I felt like a failure. My affirmations that I created and put right into my ThinkUp app was, this is what they were, I am not a failure. I no longer feel like a failure. I never completely fail. I make mistakes and I just learn from them. There are no mistakes, only lessons to be learned. Those are the types of things I started putting in my positive affirmations, because I mean, I cried a river of tears and didn't sleep for not weeks, but a couple of weeks. I didn't sleep, thinking about how am I going to pay for this? Didn't save enough for taxes. And not only did I not save enough for taxes, I assumed that I would get tax breaks on certain things that I didn't. So that's why I didn't save enough. So I was deducting things I didn't actually get deductions for. So do you see why I felt like a failure? Do you see why I felt like I didn't know anything? And I realized being a business owner is a big deal, and you've got to learn a lot of stuff, and you've got to really gain some knowledge and start really being intentional about a lot of things. You can't just assume things. Yeah. So there's an example. It doesn't make any difference that you're still smoking when you start telling your subconscious that you no longer smoke. You're telling yourself, you got the cigarette in your hand and you say, I no longer smoke. And you're smoking away and you're overeating and you say, I no longer overeat. And here's one of mine. You ready? Here's an affirmation. I get up at 7 a.m. every morning and start my day fresh. Do I get up at 7 a.m. every morning? No, I don't. I sleep till 8 or 9, simply because I can. I sleep till 8 on the days that I have to go to the gym at 9 because there's a class that I go to. It's a spin class that I like. And I sleep till 9 on the days that I don't have a 9 o'clock class, so that I eventually get myself around maybe at 10, 11 or 12 and get to the gym. And then I come home and I have to work the rest of the day after I eat Okay. And that makes my day really long. So one of my number one goals is to become consistent for this year and to also master time management. Those are the two goals. That's literally on my goals for 2017, to become master consistency in time management. So that's one of my positive affirmations. Every day I say, I get up at 7 a.m. and start my day fresh, and I'm still not doing it. Maybe I need to say that one like 20 more times a day. Yes, that's what I need to do. Okay. So I'm just letting you know, you got the cigarette in your hand and you're still puffing away and you say, I no longer smoke. Well, you keep saying that long enough and you're going to put that cigarette down. You're not going to want it as much. You're not going to be doing it because you're reprogramming the subconscious mind. Okay. Level 4 is a really cool level to get to. It's the most effective, and it's simply stating the better you. This is the stating who you are. It's the I am. And that is why it's so powerful, because think of the biblical term I am. Now, I am not going to compare myself to the Almighty. Oh, no way. We're not doing that. But the Almighty God, a synonym for him is the great I am. He is the great I am. So this is the most powerful form of affirmation that you can say. And I'm not saying that you're going to compare yourself to God in any way, shape, or form, or that I'm doing is that's crazy. But what I'm saying is when you use I am, those are powerful present tense affirmations. You're speaking things as though they be not, or speaking things into existence that be not as though they are. When you say I am. Okay, that's another scripture, by the way. And no, we cannot create things by spoken word. We are not God. God speaks things into existence. He spoke and there was light. He spoke and there was the ocean. He spoke and there was everything. But we are not doing that. What I'm talking about, and everyone knows that, right? But it kind of sounds that way because I brought God into the discussion. Words do have power because the mind hears those words and it makes us do things a certain way because we are saying things to ourselves. So if we want to change our actions, we have to change the way we think about ourselves. The only way we can change the way we think of ourselves is to say what we are, even if we are not that. So one of you said that you were bothered as a child by one of your siblings talking about how, and this is last couple of weeks I read this, that you were constantly tormented, being called ugly and different various names that destroyed your self-confidence. So the great, positive, better you affirmation is I am beautiful. I am perfectly beautiful. Every cell of my body is perfection. I love myself just the way that I am. God created me to be and to look every single way that I had. God created my nose. I am beautiful. My nose is beautiful. God created my ears. My ears are beautiful. God knows that my ears are beautiful. God created my face, my eyes. I mean, whatever it takes for you to start believing that you are beautiful, you need to make those positive affirmations about every feature of your face. If you struggle with that, okay? And if it's your weight that you struggle with and your self-image, then you need to talk about your hips and your thighs or whatever else parts of your body and describe how beautiful they are. Even though you don't think that and you think it's the craziest thing ever, you need to go ahead and say it. And yes, I have things like that on my affirmations. Call me crazy. I do. Yes, I do. Because I have problems with my own self-confidence and my self-image. And some of you they would be shocked to think that. But we all have our issues, right? I was obese for a great number of years of my life and from childhood on. And when you are obese or morbidly obese like I was, and I had at least 100 pounds to lose various points of my life up until I was 30 something, you struggle with the self-image. You look at yourself enough in the mirror like that, and you're going to have things that you think about yourself. People say things to you a certain way. They don't mean to hurt your feelings, but you're going to think those things about yourself. So yeah, I struggle with self-image. So this is the most effective. It's been used the least and needed the most. So you've got to start putting this one into action right here. The I am. Okay? It's at this level that you're painting a completed new picture of yourself. The way that you really want to be, handing it to your subconscious and saying, this is the me I want you to create. You're telling your brain, this is the me I want you, my mind, to create. Okay? For all that is bad programming I gave you in the past, all this bad programming I gave you, this is your new program. Now let's get to work at it. That's what you're telling your brain. The past procrastinator who had been programmed to put things off now says, I do everything that I need to do when I need to do it. I enjoy getting things done, and I enjoy doing things on time and in just the right way. So for my taxes that I never had saved for, can you imagine what that affirmation was? I save every month for taxes. I am a positive money. What is it, the word I use? I can't remember. I deal with money wisely. I use money as a tool, not as a luxury. I use money as a tool, not as a reward. I have great respect for money. Money is simply a tool, and I use money wisely. I mean, put it in the positive. That's what you do. You got to put it as if it does not exist. Even if it doesn't exist, you speak it as though it is. Okay? It replaces the cannots with the vibrant I cans. And this is the self-talk that helps us to battle our fears. So this one needs to get going big time. If you've got a lot of fears, boy, you better get the I ams going. Okay? One of mine is I am relentless. I am relentless. Another one of mine is I am a recruiting, what is it? I am a recruiting machine. I mean, come on. If you're not a recruiting machine, then you better start speaking it into existence. All right? Start telling your brain that you're a recruiting machine. If you don't have any self-confidence, then you need to start saying, I am a confident woman. I am a successful entrepreneur. I am a proud business owner. Whatever the case may be. I have a beautiful family that is functional. Let's say your whole family is falling apart. I have a functional family that respects one another and speaks kind words to one another in joy and love and reverence. Whatever is not happening, you speak it into existence. You say it as if it is in existence. Okay? If you have an alcoholic child or a son or a sibling, my sister is not an alcoholic. My sister is a vibrant, thriving woman. I mean, start speaking it into existence. Now, that's talking about your sister. It's not talking about you. If you struggle with alcoholism, then you need to speak yourself into existence. Maybe we should just focus on ourselves. But you know what? I love this affirmations about our family and about our circumstances in our lives. You know, our checkbook is not a part of us. You could say my checkbook is brimming with money every month. Every month, my checkbook has more money than month. I mean, that's not something that's in you. It's outside of you. Why not say it as if it is already? Because your actions are going to start directing you in that direction of making sure that you have more money than month at the end of the month. So it's the yes, I cans. These yes, I cans inspire, encourages, urges, and implores. It tugs at our hearts. It touches our hopes and paints the pictures that color our dreams. It excites and demands and pushes us forward. Every time I hear those I ams, I have to say this. I got my app on and it's saying a bunch of stuff, and I hear the I ams. I'm like, amen. Amen. And this morning I pulled out my Think Up app and I said to myself, because I have little talks with myself, and I said, if you want to get to work today, you're going to need to listen to this. Push play right now. I mean, yeah, I wanted to watch a video. I wanted to do something else. I wanted to listen to my audiobook, and there's nothing wrong with that because there's a time for that, and I'm going to do that later anyway. But first thing, positive self-talk, hello. So I turned on and pushed play. That's right, and I'm going to get some work done because of it. It excites, demands, and pushes us forward. It strengthens our armor of our spirit, and it hardens the steel of our determination. This is the self-talk that challenges us to do battle with our fears and end up the victor. It's the self-talk which stirs us to action, fills us up with self-belief, and plants our feet firmly on the solid bedrock of success. Yes, and the fifth level is this level of universal affirmation. This is the ethereal, I don't know if we'll ever get there, kind of out of touch, I can't really define it type thing, but this is the highest level of verbal self-talk, and it's called it is. It is, okay? Universal affirmation, it is. When you say it is. So this type of self-talk is like a oneness with God, a unity of spirit, a divine and timeless cosmic affinity which transcends all worldly things and gives meaning to our being. It is the language of those who, having conquered their ties to a life of earthbound demands, choose to seek their manifest place in something greater, something beyond the earthly, something beyond the spoken, no. Something, I can't read this, I'm sorry. Something beyond the ken of most others, but within the reach of their unearthly dreams. See, I can't even imagine. What's an unearthly dream? I don't know. I think about things that could be really real. It's hard for me to think about that stuff. Okay, here's an example. The only way we can think about it is if we get an example, right? Here's an example. When you say, it is, okay? It sounds like this. I am one with the universe, and it is one with me. I am of it, within it, and exist as a shining spark in a firmament of divine goodness. Okay. PSA announcement, public service announcement, FYI, heads up, whatever you want to call that. I don't really believe in that because that sounds like a bunch of esoteric shenanigans, jargon, nonsense, right? Because I know a lot about the New Age movement, and that speaks New Age movement to me, and I don't like the New Age movement that is not Christianity. So here's what I like to say. Here's one of mine. Here, let me just pull it out right now. Okay. All right. Hang on. Give me a minute. Where is it? Okay, I can't remember what it is. Okay, it's not here, so I'm going to say it. Okay. I have the thoughts of Jesus. Every word that comes out of my mouth speaks love and kindness about myself and to others. I have the thoughts of Jesus in my heart. I have the mind of God in my soul because he lives in my soul. I'm not God, but he lives in me. Now, as soon as I say that, I will be honest with you, that kind of affirmation, I'm like, if you know what I had just said 2 minutes ago, I speak the words of Jesus. I have the mind of Jesus, whatever. Yeah. Okay. The thing is that if we don't speak those things about ourselves and do it often, then we will never believe those things about ourselves and we'll never become that. So don't you want to have the words of Jesus come out of your mouth? Don't you want to have the mind of God in your heart and soul, and that you have love and kindness words for every person, including yourself? Don't you want to have that? So if you want to do that, then why not say it? say that you do that. Say that you do that every day. Say that you are the mind of God, that I am the, whatever. Hold on. Let me think of another one that I've got on there. I am the divine expression of the love of Christ. I'm just trying to remember some of mine. There's a lot I've got, guys. I am a divine picture of perfection in the eyes of God. I am a divine expression of love, of the love of God, the love of Christ. Those, I think, are level 5 affirmations, because to me, those are things I can't touch. It's not a checkbook. It's not a friend. It's not a person. I mean, God is a person, don't get me wrong, but he is where I aspire to be one day, face to face with him. And I will not be there until I die. So he is untouchable. He is not here and now. He's not, Christ can't come down from heaven and stand here in front of me. He could if he wanted to, but he's not. He's in heaven. So he is the etherical. He is what we attain to be. So if you're a Christian and you're struggling with this universal type mess that I'm looking at here, then think about it in those terms, because that's what I do. Those are my level 5s, okay? And I will tell you, every time I say it, I'm like, I don't believe it. But the more I say it, the more I'm going to believe it, and the more I'm going to start acting the way I say things, okay? It is still important that we take care every single day of the things that we are required of today. So I urge you to begin to use self-talk level 3 and 4. That's where you need to start at, 3 and 4. If it's right, level 5 will come in due time. Level 5 will come in due time. So for now, learn the self-talk that will get you to work on time. Okay, that'll help you fix your family ties, your relationships, that'll give you yourself the self-image that you deserve, the confidence that you deserve in yourself, and get the basic things in life in order, in this life in order, okay? So those are the things we need to concentrate on. Getting organized, managing time management, waking up on time. See, mine is waking up on time. Making 5 phone calls a week, getting on the phone with 5 people a week. I have goals. I get on the phone with 5 people a week. That's a positive affirmation. I reach out to people in public everywhere I go. That's another one. I say my goals out loud. I say my goals and deadlines for rank ups out loud every single day. I mean, these need to be very specific, and that's levels 3 and 4. For now, just listen to anything that you may be saying to yourself that you could be working, that could be actually working against you. Listen for that stuff that could be working against you and turn it around. Take that thing and turn it around into a level 3 or 4, hopefully level 4 positive affirmation. Start using self-talk that works for you. That's what you need to be doing this week. Start listening, okay? Now, I just spoke for 40 minutes on chapter 9. I want to try to get the next 2 done quick order, okay? Why not just think positively? Why not just think positively? Positive thinking, why can't we just do that? That's chapter 10. Well, positive thinking is one of the better ideas that came up in literature this century, in the 20th century. It works better in theory than it does in practice, because if you're just thinking some positive thoughts, but you don't say it to yourself, how's that going to do any good for you? You can't just make the decision to stop thinking negatively. That's the point of this chapter. You can't just make the decision to stop thinking negatively. You must replace. You can erase the negative, but you got to replace with the positive, okay? With positive ones. Positive thinking almost does the trick. It almost does it, but not 100%, because you have to replace it with the right thinking, okay? It almost does that. Okay, just making a decision to never think negatively again for the rest of our lives, to think positively, that's not good enough. While it may work for a time, it cannot last indefinitely. It's not going to last. Why is that? Because the mental program, which was already set up in the subconscious mind, is the old programming. It's the old self, okay? And that kind of, it's pre-programmed to disbelieve. It's going to disbelieve new information, which does not agree with the information already stored in the subconscious. So that's why it's not going to work. And if you tell yourself from today on, you will never again think negatively, without at the same time giving yourself a specific new reprogrammed thought to think, using the right word for word vocabulary, things to say, then you are going to very soon slip back into that comfortable old habit of thinking negatively. And I want you to imagine this, and then we're going to move on, okay? This is the mental apartment analogy. That's what I called it, a mental apartment analogy, okay? So imagine, and I wrote all this out, so I don't want to read the chapter, okay? Imagine that you have a mental apartment, okay? With all this broken down fixtures and furniture. You got a broken sink, you got your bed with some of the things falling off of it. It's kind of lopsided, but you sleep on it anyway. You got the couch, some of the cushions are missing and it's kind of uncomfortable to sit on that part of it. You've got a chair, you got a table that's broken and has a broken leg, and you're always having to do something to set it up right because it always falls over. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to remove it. All that old broken down furniture, you're going to take it piece by piece to the garage. You're going to take it out, take it to the garage, okay, piece by piece. Well, now you got an empty space. You got an empty space. So why not just think positively now? Why can't you just do that? Well, there's nothing in that empty space to replace the broken furniture. There's nothing new in there. You've not put anything new in there. So how in the world are you going to be able to think positive thoughts when you haven't put anything in there that's positive? It's empty. So bit by bit, you go out to the garage and you get a chair and you bring it back in, because you got to have something to sit on. And then, you need a table. So you go out and get that broken down table so that you can at least eat off of one end of it, even though the rest of it you can't even, because it's so broken down. Okay. And now you got a table, at least you got a table to eat off of. Okay. Now, oh my gosh, well, you better go get some dishes, because you got to eat off of something, but it's kind of broken on the edges. And there's some that you can't even use because they're so really torn apart, but you go get them anyway, because you got to have something to eat off of. All right. Do you see what I'm talking about? That's the reason why positive thinking doesn't work. So you're going to replace the old with the new, a new mental apartment filled with shiny new appliances and furniture. So think about that. You've got an old apartment that's just been cleaned out of all negativity. So now you're going to replace it with bright, shiny new appliances and beautiful new high-end furniture. Okay. And so you're going to be doing this. You're going to store the old negative furniture in the garage. We're going to pile it up in a huge pile. And what we're going to do to it is we're going to set a match to it. We're going to burn it up. We're going to get rid of it. Do not give your old furniture to somebody else. Don't do that. That would be the biggest mistake. Okay. Do not pass along your negative self-talk to someone else. So after all, that's how you got here in the first place. Why? Because somebody said that junk to you. So we're going to burn it up. We're going to light it up. We're going to give it to the heavens. We're going to get rid of it, right? Remember when we talked about imagining handing back the old tapes, the old garbage, bin of garbage that was handed to us? We're not trying to hurt the other person. They owned it in the first place. We're not going to hurt them. They still own it. We're just going to hand it back to them. Okay. But we're not going to pass it on to anyone else in our lives. We're going to burn it up. So it's fine to throw out the old. It is essential, but it is also essential to replace the old with the new, word for word, thought by thought. Okay. The problem has been in the past that no one gave us the words. Nobody ever gave us the words to use. No one gave us the word for word vocabulary that we needed to replace the negative programming that we had learned so well. So the right self-talk is the key to making all positive things work. Without it, for most of us, positive thinking becomes wishful thinking. It's just wishful. And wishful thinking is nothing more than saying to yourself, I wish I could, but I can't. I wish I could, but, okay, what are your dreams? Well, I've always wanted to be an author. Why aren't you doing that? Well, I would, but, okay, I heard Les Brown this morning because Angela sent me this amazing talk of Les Brown this morning, and I listened to it right after I listened to my affirmations. And it was about putting butt to bed, you know, getting rid of butt, kicking him to the curb, burying him. Butt can't come around. I would, but, okay. So we've got to replace the old, get rid of the old and replace it with the new. Wanting to be a positive thinker is not enough. Making the decision to have a positive attitude is not enough. You can't just decide to do it. The human brain says, give me more. Give me more. Give me the words. Give me the directions. Give me the commands, the picture, the schedule, the results you want, the specifics. Okay, then I will do it for you. Give me the words. And finally, the last chapter we're doing tonight is chapter 11, the motivation myth. Is motivation a myth? What's the answer to that question? Yeah, it is. It doesn't exist. You're not going to get motivated by doing anything. Okay, motivation didn't just, oh, I'm going to just sit around and wait to be motivated. You're going to be waiting forever. Okay. Don't believe in motivation. It's fleeting, okay? 95% of motivation doesn't even work. So that's why motivation is a myth, okay? Most motivation does not stick. Think about when you go and listen to an incredible speaker at maybe convention or some amazing conference you paid money to go to, you signed up for an online thing, and you're like, I'm going to do that. That's awesome. That's a great thing to do. I'm going to write that down. And okay, you're motivated right then and there. You walk out of that conference, where'd that motivation go? Bye-bye, see ya, it's gone. Okay, so motivators can do a great job. I'm a motivational speaker. I can motivate this pencil right here to do what I want it to do. I'm really great. But, you know, in the end of the day, you got to have it on the inside of you. It can't come from outside. It's got to come from in here. Okay. All that motivation that I just now talked about, going to a conference, listen to speakers at conventions, some great thing that you signed up for, some webinar, that's external. That's external. Guys, external motivation doesn't work for anybody. I'm just going to tell you that. How many years did my mom sign me up for diets? How many years did she think she was helping me by telling me, I'm going to get you the right kind of foods to eat. I'm going to sign you up for this. I'm going to get you this membership down at the YMCA. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And you're going to get I'm going to provide the resources. Until I wanted to do it, it didn't matter what program, it didn't matter what gym, it didn't matter what foods, it didn't matter what she was buying. I was not going to lose that weight until I wanted to, guys. You can try to make somebody do something till you're blue in the face, and they will never do it. Do you hear me? They will never do it until you stop trying to motivate them. It's got to come from them. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your breath. It's the truth. It's right here in black and white. Shad Helmstedder. Look, blue and pink, should I say, and black and white. All right. So look, external motivation, 0 results. 0 results. Okay. Internal motivation, timeless. Internal motivation, something's going to get done. Internal motivation, nothing's stopping you. Okay? There's no end to it. It's not going to it's going to wake you up. The external kind wakes you up. It's not going to keep you awake. It supports and encourages and it demands and it rewards. But when the coach is gone, so is the support, so is the encouragement, so is the demand, and so is the reward. When the cat is away, the mice will play. When my mom wasn't looking, I ate all kinds of junk that I shouldn't have been eating. And when I was old enough to have my own job and have my own money and drive my own car, even though I lived at home, and she didn't buy the junk, I ate what I wanted outside the house. Okay? Look, where there's a will, there's a way. And there's something inside of each of us that it doesn't matter how much somebody loves us and is trying to help us. We are so self-empowered. Our own self-will is so strong. Ain't nobody going to tell me what to do. You're not going to tell me what to do. You're not going to control me. And it's not, I didn't do it hatefully. I was like subconsciously sabotaging myself because I didn't want to be controlled. No one wants to be controlled. Nobody does. They're going to do it themselves or they'll never do it. All of our external motivation works the same way. Keep giving us the motivation and we will do better. Take away that external motivation and we will move mentally back to where we were before the motivation began. We've been progressed or grown to achieve something in the process, but we did so with somebody else's energy. See, that's the key. Somebody else put the energy in, not us. It didn't come from inside of us. It was not our own energy that motivated us. It was outside of us. So it takes more than a rousing speech to erase and replace the internal programs which tell us that we should know better than to suddenly believe what we are powerful champions of success. Okay? That's why when you tell somebody who believes that they are ugly, I have seen this a million times, okay? Raise your hand if you've seen this. Mentally raise your hand. Standing in the bathroom mirror, teenager, 20-something, whatever, and there's a gorgeous girl touching up her makeup, doing her hair, getting herself together, and she's like, oh, I cannot stand the way I look. And I'm like, how would you like to be me over here, 100 pounds heavy? I didn't say that, but I'm like, you are so beautiful. How could you say that? I've said that to a million girls that think they are ugly and they are gorgeous. And I'm like, you're sitting there saying that you're ugly, looking at your beautiful self in the mirror, and I'm over here that needs to lose 100 pounds. And I'm like, how could you say that? You're so beautiful. And they apologize. They're like, I know people tell me that all the time. I just don't believe it. I don't see it. Look, it doesn't matter how many people tell you something. You're beautiful. You're gorgeous. You're this, you're that. It doesn't matter. You can tell them that 1,000 times until they tell themselves that, until they believe it in their own soul, they will never capture that belief. They have to have it from inside. They have to decide to reprogram the brain so that they can believe that themselves. You could literally tell a beautiful girl she's beautiful all day long and she'll never believe it if she thinks she's ugly. Okay, external motivation does not work. I think I have made my point for this chapter. Oh, I'll touch on this next point. Managing others. How many of us have tried to do that? We try to manage other people. Doesn't work, does it? Doesn't work. We think we're doing it. We think we're successful. Well, they might hide it from us, but they're really doing something behind our back. Trust me, okay? External motivation is not permanent, and we can try to manage people all we want. Here's what happens. It sometimes works against us. External motivation. It sometimes works against us. Okay, here's how it works. So we go to a motivational talk. It's a good talk. We get motivated. We get inspired. It's a great talk. By the time it's over, we will have set some new sights and made some irrevocable commitments to make some important changes for the better. We may even have some specific goals to do just that. Then we get home, we get back to the details and distractions of everyday life. Old programming quietly reconvinces us that we're capable of less than that person on the stage was trying to get us to believe. We are even more aware that there is a more powerful internal mechanism at work, busily beginning to override the new inspiration that we got from the speaker. And eventually, our internal programming just wins out. Okay. While we listened to the trainer, we adjusted our sights higher and set new goals. But after a few minor defeats, we start to agree once again with our old opinion of ourselves, and we fail to reach that goal. The disappointment, the failure, large or small, often takes the individual backwards. So that's why it works against us. When you believe something amazing about yourself and you go back into that old stuff, and you go back into the pit because that's just where you're going to go naturally, it makes you even worse because you've gone backwards. Okay. The only motivation that lasts is internal. And I already made that point. So what is internal motivation? I'm going to read this to you. What is internal motivation? And I wrote this because it's so important. I wrote it right here. Internal motivation is relying on you to stay organized, focused, in tune, on top, and in touch. Internal motivation is not needing anyone to prod or push you. Internal motivation is your best friend. Those are the people that don't give a care about prizes and contests on team pages. They want the dream. They want the money. They want the freedom. They want the health. They don't give a care about a coach purse. They got internal motivation. Internal motivation is your closest ally. Internal motivation is your strongest believer. It gives you direction and purpose. It strengthens your will. It gives you unquestioned belief. It's loyal to the end. It's the coach who never goes home. It's the ultimate motivator. It's the will that never will fail you. And it is who? You. That's internal motivation. And with that said, this ends our talk for this evening, and we are going to have our team chat. Thank you for joining, every single one of us. Mwah. Good night, and go speak kindly to yourself with positive affirmations level 3 and 4. And start listening for all the negative I can'ts and start putting them into the positive affirmations. Okay? Peace out, and we'll see you next week for chapters, what are they? 12, 13, and 14.